Hello and welcome to this part of Postman crash course. In this part, we are going to learn how to run our Postman requests and tests from command line, and we will also learn about data-driven testing. So let's get started. And here I am on my Postman, and if I have to run any of my collections from command line, I will need Newman. Newman is a command line tool for Postman, and it is a node module or a node program. I will go to my command prompt, and if you are on Mac you can go to your terminal. So if you are on Mac you can open the terminal, and if you are on Windows you can open your command prompt, and here you can say node space -v and hit enter. This will show you the node version in case you have node installed. In my case it is not installed. You can also say npm space -v to check the npm version. So these are not installed on my Windows system. If I go to Mac you can say the same command, or you can also say node space -version. Both will work, and in this case I have node and npm installed and set up on my Mac system. So here the first thing is, in case you do not have node.js, you will need to install node.js. So you can download and install node.js. Just search for node.js download, and here is the link for downloading node.js, which is nodejs.org and the download section. And here you can find the Windows installer, Mac installer, so you can take the installer as per your operating system. So here in my case I have downloaded the Windows installer, and let me open, and here is the installer. You can double click the installer and this will start the installation wizard. Now just in case you are on Mac, you can get the Mac installer and then use this to install Node.js, or other ways you can also use brew to install Node.js, which will be a very straightforward way. So to get brew on your system, you can go to brew.sh and run this command on your terminal. So you will get homebrew installed, and then to install Node.js you can just say brew install Node.js. And let me also show you a very good link where you can get step-by-step instructions. So if you go here, how to install Node.js and npm on Mac using homebrew, I will also provide all these links in the description of this video in the notes, so you can also refer it from there. So here you will find step-by-step instructions on how to install Node.js using brew. So I'll go back to my Windows system and I will start the installation process. So click on next, read and then accept the license agreement, and next, and you can decide the folder where Node.js will go, and then again say next and next, and I'm keeping all these as default, and then click on install. So this will install Node.js on your system, and I'll click on finish. And now I will open a new command prompt or a new command prompt window, and here I will say node space -v, and this gives me the Node.js version, and when I say npm space -v, it gives me the npm version. And now I can go to the next step, that is installing Newman. So I will now say npm install -g flag or -g option is to install the package globally on the system. You can remove it if you do not want to install globally, and then I will say npm install -g Newman. There was a spelling mistake. Let me clear the screen and I will again say, so this is Newman, and hit enter, and this will download and install Newman on this system. So now you can also check by saying Newman-v to check the version of Newman, and in this case I'm getting the version of Newman here. And you can also see all the node packages if you go to your C drive and go to users and your user, in my case it is administrator, and then there will be a hidden folder called app data. In case you do not see this folder, you can go to view and say check hidden items, then you will find this app data, and then go to roaming, and then here you will have npm folder, and here I have node modules, and here you will find all your node modules or node packages, and here I can also find Newman. And also if you want to do a fresh installation of Newman, you can delete the folder from here and then you can do a fresh installation from your command line. So now I have installed Newman on the system. The next step is to run any collection. I will export the collection. Let us say I am taking this collection that I created in my last session. So I will click on these three dots and I will say export, and here I will export as a JSON file, and let me just keep it on my desktop for now. You can keep it at any location on your system. So if I now go to my desktop, you can see this collection is exported as a JSON file, and to run this collection I will go on my command prompt. So let me open a new command prompt, and the first thing is I will go to the location wherever this collection is on my system. Now this is on desktop, which is in C drive, so I am already in C drive here. Just in case you are at some different drive or you have the collection at some different drive, you can change the drive. For example, if you want to go to D drive, you can first say D colon and hit enter, and now I am at D drive, and then you can say CD for change directory and give the location of your collection. In my case, I will go back to C drive and I will say CD, and I will go to the desktop folder or the desktop location, and now the command is Newman run, and I will give the name of the JSON file or the location of the JSON file. So I will click D, I will enter D and press tab so that it will auto complete the name, and now I will hit enter and this should run the collection. So you can see it has executed the collection, and here we have got all the results, and there was all the requests have got executed, and you can also find a summary here, the iterations, request, test scripts, pre-request scripts, pass, fail, everything you will get here, the run duration, data, average response time. If you have any failure, it will show you the failure and the details of the failure as well. Now in Postman, you can also run your collection from any remote system. Suppose you are at any remote system where you do not have your Postman collections, but still you can run it from there. For that, you can click on this arrow on your collection, and here we have a share button. Go to share and click on get public link, and click on this get public link. This is the public link of your collection, and using this link you can access your collection from anywhere. So you can copy this. Also make sure that anyone who has this link can access the collection, so you have to be careful with this link. So you can copy this link, and now at any location or any system you can run this collection. You will just need Newman installed. So suppose this is some remote system, I will just have to have Newman installed, and then I can say Newman run, and instead of the JSON file which was physically present, now I'm giving the public URL of the collection, and I will run this, and you can see I'm getting the same response. So that means it is able to get the collection from the public URL and it is able to run. So using this URL you can run your collection from any remote system as well. Also you can say Newman run -h. It will show you all the help options and all the options that you can use with Newman command, and this is how you can run your collections from command line. Now let us learn about data-driven testing. In Postman, we can use data from CSV and JSON files. So let me take a collection. I'm going to this examples for local API collection that we created earlier, and here we are running requests on our local server, which is JSON server. We have created this earlier in the earlier sessions. You can also use any other example for this. And to work on this collection, I can click on this star icon, which will make it favorite and keep it at the top so that it is easy for me to work on this. I will go to the post request here, and here if I go to the body, here I am giving first name, last name and subject ID, and if I send this request, and you can see this user gets created on the server, and if I go to the file and reload the file, you can see here the new user gets created here, and I can also check this on my browser. So this is a local server and this is getting a new user created. Now let us say if I want to refer this from a file, the first thing I will do is I will parameterize these values. That means I will refer these values from a variable. So let us say I want to get value for first name, last name and subject ID from a external data file. I will create some new environment variables. I will click on this manage environment icon here, and I'm going to create a new environment. I will click on add, and I will say this is test environment, and I will create some variables here. Let us say first name, last name, and subject ID, and I can give some values here. Suppose I say here Louis Pasture, and let us say subject ID is 1, and I will click on add. So I have created this environment and added some variables. Now I will refer them here, and for that I will give this double curly brackets, and here I will refer these variables. So this is first name, this is last name, and this is subject ID. And to verify if I am able to refer the variables properly, I will click on save, and I have to also select the environment. So I will select the environment from here, and I can check the variables by clicking on this eye icon, and I can see all this is fine. I will now, you can also create variables at global level. So now I will click on send, and if I check the response, there is some issue. Let me check. So first name, last name, and subject ID. If I check, this is first name, last name, and okay, the ID is different here, which is capital I and capital D. Let me edit this here, and should be now okay. And now I will say save and send again. And yes, I'm having this user created. I can check this on the server. On my browser, I will refresh, and a new user is created. So this was just to check their variables are referred properly and it is working fine. Now I will create a CSV file. You can create a CSV file at any location. I'm going to my desktop, and I will create a new file. I will say this is data1. I'll change the extension to CSV, and I will open the file. So here I'm going to create the column headers, and that will be the same name as the variables. So here is first name, last name, and subject ID, and now I can give the data for the variables. So for example, I can say here first name is Srinivasa, and I can say Ramanujan, and subject ID is 1. I can give more data. I will say here CV Raman, and subject ID 2, and I can give some more Alan Turing, and subject ID 1. So I have created these 3 data. I can now save this, and now I will go back to my Postman, and now I will run the collection. I will click on this arrow and click on run, and now this opens a new collection runner window. I will select the collection here, and you can see if I select the collection, all the requests inside that collection will get executed. But as of now, I just want to run my post request. So for that, I can put it into a folder. I will create a new folder, and I will say this is demo for data driven, and say create. And I can either drag and drop this post request inside the folder, or I can duplicate this request first. I will say duplicate, and I'm going to copy the duplicate or drag and drop the duplicate request inside my folder. Now if I go to the collection runner, on the collection runner window, now I will select this folder demo for data driven, so that it will only run my post copy request. And here the environment is test, and now here we have the option to select the data file. So I will select this and go to my desktop, select the CSV file, and you can see it has identified that it is a CSV file, and the data file type, it has selected text CSV. That means the formatting and syntax of our file is correct. And here we have a preview button. So if I click on preview, it shows me all the data. So you should be able to preview your data. That means everything is fine with the data file. And now I will click on run and let us see the output. So you can see it has executed the request 3 times because we had 3 sets of data. And if I go to any request and see the request body, you can see this is the first data, and then the second one, this is the second set of data, and then the third one, this is the third set of data. You can also go to Postman console, and here again you can see the request and its body. So you can see the request body of any of the requests, and here you will find all the data. You can also see in a separate window, and you can see the data here. So we have used a CSV file and refer data from a CSV file. Let me also show you how you can use a JSON file. So I will create a new file. You can create a JSON file at any location on your system. I will say this is data2, and I will give the extension as .json. And now I will open this using any text editor. So I'm opening Notepad++. And now to create a JSON data, we start with a square bracket start and stop. So this will be a array. This represents an array, and in this array we can create multiple objects, and the objects are created between the curly brackets. And in between the curly brackets I will give my data. So in quotes I will say first name and then the value. So I can say first name is Isaac, then comma, and the next variable or the next parameter is last name and the value, and then we have subject ID and its value. So this is one object inside this array. I can copy this and give a comma and paste it to create more objects. So here I can give some more values. I will say Charles Darwin here, and let us say subject ID is 2. I will give a comma again and paste to create one more object. I will say this is Benjamin Franklin, and let us say subject ID is 1, and save this. And also you can verify if your syntax and JSON is proper. You can go to any JSON formatter or JSON beautifier online, and for example I go to this jsonformatter.org, and here you can copy your JSON data and click on format or beautify, and it will show you the formatted data. Just in case you forget something, for example I forget this double quotes and then I say format and beautify, it will show you that you have some issue, and it will also show you where exactly there is some problem or a syntax issue with your JSON. So this will be a good practice, although Postman will also tell you and will not show you a preview if your JSON has any problem. Now I will go back to my Postman and go to the collection runner, and this time I will select the JSON file, and you can see it has selected application JSON in the data type. That means our file is correct. I can also click on preview, and this should show me the data. If you are able to see the data, that means everything is fine with the file. And now I will say run, and you can see it is running our data, and looks like we did not select the specific folder, so it is running everything inside the collection, which is fine. You can see the request and the details, and you can see the request body, and you will find your data here. You can also go to the run summary, and you can see all your summary here. Now we have executed from a data file, we have referred data from a data file in our request body. In case you have any tests, let us say I go to the tests, and here if I create a very quick tests, I will say tests, and I will name this as verify first name, and I will say this is equals to response body dot has. Now if I have to hard code the value, I can directly say here, I can directly put a value here, but here we have to refer from a data file. Now in this case, you cannot give double curly braces and you cannot refer it like this. So for this, what you have to do is you can say here data and dot the value or the variable name. For example, I can say first name here, which is the variable name. Similarly, if I create another test case, I will say verify last name. So I can say here last name directly, like dot last name we have used earlier, or I can also give square brackets and in quotes I can say last name. So both of these ways will work to refer value from the data in test. I will save this and let us try to run this again. I will go to the collection runner and I will select the folder and select the file. So let me first select the CSV file and preview and run. So you can see it is now running the test cases as well and everything is passed. And if I go and select the JSON file and preview and everything is fine and I will run. So again everything is running fine. You can also go to the run summary and you can see all the tests are running fine. Now going to the next level, what if you have to run from command line using the data file? In that case, you can export your collection as a JSON file. You can go to these three dots and say export and export the collection. I'm just keeping it on my desktop. You can keep it at any location on your system. And now you can see the collection is here. This is my collection file, which is a JSON file. I will go to the command line and here I will say Newman. So we have already seen we use Newman for running from command line. I will say Newman and I will say run. So we should be going to the, I'll first go to the location of my collection file and data file. You can also give complete path, but I'm just going to the same location and I will say Newman run and the location of the collection. In my case, it is already on the same location. So I can give the name directly and then -t and the location of the data file. So I will say data1.csv in this case and I will say run. So let us see, you can see it is running and all the tests are getting executed and it is getting data from our data file and also running our tests. If I have to use my JSON file, I will do the same thing. I will say data2.json and I will run this and you can see it is again running all our requests and tests and the entire collection from command line. So this was how you can do command line testing and how you can do data driven testing in Postman. I hope this session was very useful for you. Do share your knowledge with everyone and let me know how do you like this session. Stay happy and keep learning and thank you for watching.